must have gone, oh, thank God I didn't get Na'Vi. And VG must be going, oh, why did we have to get them? Because they are potentially the most dangerous team to have in that lower bracket, aren't they?
Yeah, potentially is the word. I mean, they haven't... If you think about Na'Vi, for most Dota fans who've been following the game for a while, they're like the team. They're like the legendary team in the Western scene and the CIS scene that you just go to. There's people wearing Na'Vi jerseys. They're like very, very popular team. All the players are legends. And then Puppy and Kuro leave, and I don't know what's quite happened since then. But when we're talking about that lower bracket grit, I think that a lot of that was down to their captain Puppy, I think.
Okay. That's very interesting. But you're right about you're right about the shirts as well, because when I turned up this morning, there were so many of these shirts around. I actually thought the Valve employees were wearing yellow and black. There were just so many people in Na'Vi shirts. It's great to see. Sorry, Melanie, you were saying?
It's a little heartbreaking to see them like fall apart so drastically after switching captains. It was Puppy and then FNG and now Art Style. I mean, their results have been subpar, but the way they lose is not always the same thing. Generally, they win the early game, which is really good, but then it's just having trouble converting. And I think Art Style, lacks the vision that, let's say, Puppy has to win the entire game in an entire series. So I think if they just, extend their versatility a little bit more, they can win.
Okay, Winter, where do you think their mentality is right now? Considering Art Style said in the interview, we're not going to be in the best of ones. That was shot before we started groups, and he said, well, I'm going to be in the best of ones. We'll be in the upper bracket. And they obviously then now didn't expect to be in this position. So how do they cope with that mentally? Or is this what we're talking about, that Na'Vi magic that gets them out of trouble?
Yeah, I think Na'Vi is like the last team you would want to play in a BO1. That's the reason why Virtus.pro, they didn't even choose Na'Vi, even though Na'Vi was like the last team. That tells a lot. Like, no one wants to play Na'Vi, and Na'Vi against the wall is a different Na'Vi. You never know what's going to happen and what they're going to go for. And I think that they're going to bring something new today, like a new type of play style, a surprise, so that they can actually take Vichy by out of their comfort zone.
And it's true as a team, but it's true individually. Like, all those players, they're not afraid to go for the risky plays at all. They're like against the wall, like as you said, if they do a big mistake, they're going to lose the game and they're going to get out. They don't really care. They're going to play as good as they think they have to play, and they're just going to go for what they think they have to do. And
Dendy's probably had one standout game so far, which was the 20-0 that he went. But other than that, I haven't really seen the magic from him. He's due a good game, isn't he, someone?
What changed with Dandy, in my opinion, is that when Puppy left, he had to carry a lot of weight, like for the team on his shoulders, and that's something he didn't have to do before. So he probably feels like he needs to try to lead the team and everything, and it does hurt your own plays, in game. So he doesn't have the space he used to have. He feels like he's forced to go for plays, lead the team. Let's do this. Let's captaining, somehow in game.
That's the reason why most of the captains are support players, because when you're on the support position, you don't have to pay so much attention on your own play. You can be more focused on the team in general.
Yeah, especially for a player like Dandy, he needs to be able to focus on because he always plays to the limits, and he can't do this if he has to take care about, like macro things, global things.
Pirin, he also said Art Style in that interview, which I found really interesting. Even though they expected to get to the upper bracket, he also said, we feel like underdogs. So that they must understand that would actually put them in the lower bracket, sure.
Yeah, I mean, I guess you could say, I think they felt going in that they knew this was a possibility. So you'd have to hope, if you were a Na'Vi fan, that they prepared for it, that they have a surprise draft to go for. But I think a lot is going to depend actually on how Seneko plays. I think he's a really good player, and he's the guy that can make the plays that can get them out of trouble, and he's done that in games previously.
Okay, very quickly, 20 seconds, one word. Where's your money going, Melini?
Na'Vi.
Vichy.
Na'Vi.
I don't even want to be, neutral professional. Na'Vi.
Come on, Vichy, don't make me look like an idiot.
In one word. Well done, Seb. That was 7, but we'll let you off. It's all good, buddy. We've got your back here. We are heading into the draft, though, for our next game.
Vichy Gaming versus Na'Vi.
Here we go then, Vichy Gaming versus Na'Vi, with all the marbles up for grabs, because one of these is going home in 13th to 16th. Is incredible as that may sound, and the draft is underway.
So like Vichy is going to take out like one of Soneko's best hero, like the Wyvern, and Kieran talked about Na'Vi being able to count on Soneko, and that's like his signature best hero.
Definitely. One hero, though, that Na'Vi really likes to play. It's Undying. they usually rush into picking Undying, you know, whenever they can, and it looked like Vici Gaming actually decided to give them Undying by the looks of it, unless they first pick it, which I don't think will happen. So we'll see if Artstar gets to play his Undying.
I mean, he's really good at playing, like, you talk about strength heroes, like tanky heroes up front, leading the charge, like just soaking up damage. Like, he's really good at heroes that play that role in the game.
Yeah, he's the kind of captain that's gonna, you know, call the let's go in now. And when he has a hero that needs to position himself, then it's harder, you know, to adapt your plays to the call you're making. But when he hasn't a hero like Undying, then it's way easier.
I mean, banning out the Winter Wyvern also opens up Wisp, I think, which Vici would be much more keen to utilize than Na'Vi.
Definitely. Although Na'Vi has a really good Wisp player, Soneko is extremely good on the hero. He's extremely good. That guy can play basically anything, honestly. On a support role, I can think of a hero he can play efficiently. Like, we've seen his Shaker, it's stellar. You know, his Wisp is the same, the Winter Wyvern, you know.
I ran into him in a pub. He played Medusa mid with Solar Crest and owned my team.
He's a very smart player. He's very, very smart. You know, he's not to be underrated for sure. Yeah. The first big co-op for Vici Gaming. I mean,
I think he heard you there as well because he was laughing at you.
Was it though?
No, probably not.
Yeah. I mean, I'm quite surprised they're not picking the Undying, I have to admit.
Are we going to see a more standard pick out of these? We've discussed this already. We haven't seen it really already. In those
standard for Na'Vi or standard?
Yeah, standard for both. Well, standard. Yeah, okay. All right, that's a fair point. It could be all over the place, couldn't it?
They did tend to Undying a lot in the group stage, and if they reviewed the replays, I would think that's like jumping too soon on the Undying train might be a reason why they actually lost a lot of the games. So I think if they want to pick it, it should be third or fourth, just because they win the early game and they lose out the mid to late, just very, very often.
Yeah, and Undying is not a hero that can actually adapt. You know, if your game planning is wrong and you have to deal with split pushing, for example, or something like this, Undying actually can do much. Dusk, I mean, everything's open now. The Queen of Pain is also open.
Dazzle has been the most popular all the way through.
Dusk, Dazzle, I mean, we've seen that this morning, I mean, earlier today, quite a lot by LGD and by Team Empire. So, yeah, Na'Vi went for that. Nothing is revealed so far. The Queen of Pain could be mid, could be carry. How actually plays it as well, so... And we actually had the same opening earlier today, more or less. We had Queen of Pain into Bounty Hunter, which is banned, or Queen of Pain into Naga, Siren. And the opposite team had the exact same Dusk and Dazzle.
Do you think we're going to see an anti-mage?
I think it could happen. It's a Chuvos hero as well. I mean, he does sometimes overextend, but it's a hero that can also tank a lot of damage. And he's the one that's going to put a lot of pressure, and he's known for that anti-mage. So, yeah, I think definitely we could see an anti-mage from Na'Vi. Or for Vici, How loves anti-mage.
I mean, I think in this sort of style, the best of one loser goes home. I think a lot of teams would tend to go towards an anti-mage. It's a safe strat.
Yeah, definitely. And we haven't even mentioned Funnick, but he's also a beast under pressure. And he's been quite impressive. At least I was very impressed by his Brood performances. Not necessarily at TI, but in all the recent matches he played. So it's a hero not to be forgotten versus Na'Vi. They do like to play that Broodmother a lot.
Yeah, well, they banned him.
Alright, they banned it themselves. Yeah, I mean,
I think the Earthshaker pick is kind of like, they've grabbed the Earthshaker, this is a potential pick. But
yeah, they potentially gave up on it already.
I mean, Vici doesn't really run Earthshaker other than support. So
yeah, we haven't seen SSIs on Earthshaker.
So it pretty much means like they're still looking for the offlane hero for Vici Gaming. So like the Brood is something you don't want to get surprised by. So.
The noises for when heroes get banned are really loud in our ear, by the way.
Yeah.
Like when we cut to the draft, I'm generally terrified when they ban Ledge. It's like, I'm like, what did I do? Is Paul angry? No. Ledge.
Seb was trying to call the heroes by their grunts. I was like, that's very ambitious.
Yeah, we should try and do that.
And it was a Bloodseeker instead of an axe, but I mean, you know, it was quite close. And when they say Earthshaker, I can guess.
Yeah, that's a relatively easy one.
So there's still like the Radiant Shadowfiend here open for Na'Vi. They can still go for that if they want to. I mean,
anti-mage.
Yeah,
there you go. Oh. Good call.
Yeah.
There you go. So it's an anti-mage for Chuvos, which is, I think, fair enough in this type of game as well. When you play best of one, usually you want to play a bit more defensive. You don't want to go for the most risky plays. And playing versus anti-mage kind of forces you to actually force the issue. And
yeah. It's like that ultimate insurance you've got. It's like we've always got the anti-mage to fall back on.
Yeah, anti-mage Magnus is even more.
Yeah, we might see a Magnus. Yeah. Then this Magnus is very good.
It's a little bit scary a matchup versus Queen of Pain, but I think they ran anti-mage plus PA, except PA just doesn't really cut it super late because I don't think Blur is as strong as having Blink and Mana Shield, but it didn't work out for them, and it looked like it was because of the PA pick, so...
Now Vici Gaming has to adapt a bit, and this is when they're going to start, giving a direction to their draft and like the game they want to.
So do you think at this stage with Quap and Earthshaker that they say, okay, well we'll pick our own ultra late game insurance, or do we say screw it, let's just?
There's not that many good options. Like Phantom Lancer is, I think, one of the late gamers that people tend to, but it's actually very poor versus anti-mage because he does very well against illusion-based heroes. Aside from that, I mean, there's not that many hard late game carries that can actually deal with the anti-mage, especially with the Magnus. But there's a Rubik in the pool now.
Interesting. That's a Lina pick, but I mean, it could be a support or a mid. We've seen Dandy on Lina for sure, like many times, but it could also be a support. I mean, this draft is. I don't know if it was LGD drafting a Navi lineup or Navi now drafting an LGD lineup. I think it's like also more likely the second option, but still, this is like exactly what LGD has been drafting the whole. I mean, whenever they could, right?
Yeah.
With Lina Dazzle support, Tusk offlane, anti-mage carry, and looking for a mid laner.
Yeah, I mean, Lina still can go mid lane in the sense that it's really good versus Quap. You have a really good matchup, and if your cores are Tusk and Lina, you have two cores that make a lot of space, and there's going to be a lot of room for anti-mage to actually farm the whole map.
Definitely. It is, though, a Quap with a Shaker backup, most likely, as we said, since we're not expecting the Shaker offlane, so it does put quite a lot of pressure on the opposite mid laner, but Lina is definitely one of the heroes that can deal with that.
Yeah, she can definitely hold her own against that, like going back to clear stacks and whatnot.
Shadow Fiend.
And that's an SF pick, so